Some of you requested that we do a video on multiplying fractions. So I pulled some questions from the retest and from your original Unit 3 test to give an example of. For our first one, we have a chocolate chip cookie recipe, and they give you all the ingredients and the measurements. Our question here says if 3 batches of cookies are made, how much flour will be needed? Okay, so the first thing we need to figure out is how much flour do we need for one batch. So if we need 2 1/4 cups for one batch, how many do we need for 3? That is a multiplication question, or it is a repeated addition. I have 2 1/4 cups of flour. I want to make 3 batches, so I'm going to multiply it by 3. First thing, we've got 2 issues with the numbers that we're looking at before we can multiply. First thing is we have a mixed number, and we're not going to multiply with a mixed number, so we need to turn it to improper. How do we do that? We're going to lasso, multiply, and add. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Denominator stays the same. Multiply. We also have a whole number 3. Well, how do we turn a whole number into a fraction? We put it over 1. Now we can multiply. Remember multiplication, we multiply the top times the top, bottom times the bottom. 9 times 3 is 27. 4 times 1 is 4. So my answer is 27 over 4. Now we do have an improper, and here we're going to get it out of the improper into a mixed. So I'm going to divide 27 divided by 4. Does not go into 2, but it does go into 27 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. 7 minus 4 is 3, remainder 3. And remember, once I have these numbers in with the division, we need to figure out how do we pull them out. Well, my answer to my division problem is 6, so that means I have 6 whole. My numerator is 3. Denominator does not change. And you notice here, they do not change. So my answer, how much flour I would need? I would need 6 3/4 cups of flour. Okay, the second part to this, we're still using the same recipe. Now it says if 1 1/2 batches of cookies are made, how much dark brown sugar will be needed? Okay, so now we're looking at dark brown sugar. We need 3/4 cups, but now we need to make a batch and a half, meaning 1 whole batch, so that's going to be 3/4 cup, but then I need half of a batch, which means I need half of 3/4. So this is also a multiplication problem. I'm going to start off with, I need 1 1/2 batches. Each batch calls for 3/4 cup brown sugar. Just like before, I have a mixed number. I need to pull out the improper fraction, multiply and add. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Denominator stays the same. There is nothing we need to do to this fraction because it's in its normal state. Now I just have to follow the rules of multiplication, which is top times the top, bottom times the bottom. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 4 is 8. It's in an improper. Let's get it out of improper by dividing. 8 goes into 9 one time. 1 times 8 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1, so I have remainder 1. So my answer is 1 1/8 cups of dark brown sugar. And always just make sure your denominators do not change. Okay, one that we had on Our Unit 3 test was kind of the same idea as the one we just did. It says Margie is using a punch recipe that calls for 2 1/3 cups of lemonade. Which expression could be used to determine how many cups of lemonade Margie will use if she's making 1½ batches? So really the same as what we just did. We start off with 2 1/3 cups of lemonade. Let me get my paper set. And then we need to find what it's going to be for a batch and a half. So start off with our 2 1/3. One and a half batches. So 2 1/3 for each, but we're going to do 1 1/2. So we need one of these plus a half of these, and this is what makes it more difficult. Let's get them out of the mixed times add. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Denominator stays the same. Get it out of your mixed. Multiply and add. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Denominator stays the same. Now, our multiplication rules, they are each in a fraction. Multiply the top times the top, bottom times the bottom. 7 times 3 is 21. 3 times 2 is 6. Let's pull it out of the improper by dividing. 6 does not go into 2, but it will go into 21 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. Subtract, you have 3. Remainder 3. So my answer is 3 3/6. You should recognize 3/6 can be reduced. So it's 3 1/2 cups lemonade. So let's try a couple on your own of just the process. Of just if you had numbers to multiply by. So if you were working a problem and you had 2 2/3 cups of flour that you needed for a recipe, but you only wanted to make half of the batch, say it's cookies. Pause the video, go ahead and try it on your own and then check with me. Okay, so you should have paused the video and have an answer now. So remember, we've got flour and we're trying to make cookies, but we only want to make half a batch instead of a whole batch. This is for a whole batch. So we need to figure out how we get there. We cannot multiply a fraction that has a mixed number, so we've got to get it improper. Multiply and add. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. Denominator stays the same. Times, we're going to leave this 1/2 because it's already in a fraction. We don't need to do anything to it. Multiply top times the top, bottom times the bottom. 8 times 1 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. It's improper. Let's get it out. 6 goes into 8 once. Remainder 2. Your answer is 1 2/6, but you should see that that reduces to 1 1/3. Okay, let's try another one. What if we multiplied 2 1/2 cups of flour, but this time we need to make a recipe that is 1 1/4 times as much. Pause the video, try it on your own, come back and check with me. Okay, so you should have an answer now, and you should have remembered that we cannot multiply with mixed numbers, so I need to get it out and get it into an improper. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Leave the denominator the same. Mixed number needs to move to an improper, multiply, add. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Denominator stays the same. Multiply, top times the top, bottom times the bottom. 25/8. We need to get that out of improper. 8 does not go into 2, but it will go into 25 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. 5 minus 4 is 1. My answer is 3 and 1/8 cups of flour.